Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I'm back. Well, I'm making this video a little earlier than what I normally make it, primarily because I have a mammogram today scheduled, and actually I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go because I don't know, but I think the arrows are going to tell me here where to go. It's so only thing about this area is so confusing because it ain't really I mean, you're just all over the place, and they tell you right at the arrows. Sometimes tell you right at the last minute. I'll be back, y'all. Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I just finished my appointment. I had a mammogram today, and I already prayed that everything's gonna be just fine. It was just my annual screening, but I can't remember if I had one last year or not. I know I had one in 2023. I know that one for sure, but I have to ask my doctor when I'm making another appointment with her if I actually had one last year. Seems like I don't remember having one last year. But anyway, I'm back on track because I had one today. But yeah, the office was so super nice, and I was a little hesitant about going to this location because I'm a veteran, and so I like to have all of my exams at the VA. But they were sort of, I think what the word is, outsourcing or something. So that's why I had to, I guess, in other words, they're they're so booked up there that they have to, schedule out. And so anyway, it was super convenient because the location that I went to is only just really 10 minutes from where we live, so it's really convenient. So it just seems like a lot of times, they make it real convenient for you, and you don't really have to go through a lot of hassle to make to do something else. So which is good, because a lot of times when you're doing something else or other than what you would like to do, sometimes you gotta go all the way around the world to do that. But yeah, this time it wasn't like that. It was different. So I'm very thankful for that. So it seems like God is always looking out for me. Just in any situation. He in the details of any situation. And I appreciate that. I recognize that, and I thank him for that. And you make sure you all are doing that too, because you say, well, what's the big deal? It's just a schedule, it's an appointment. But I pay attention to everything. And when I scheduled this appointment, I'm trying to think, I scheduled this when did I schedule? It's probably been about 2 weeks ago, I think, or something like that. It hasn't been long. I know it hasn't. It wasn't a long time ago. I know that. So yeah, they got me in super quick. So yeah, I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago, I think. So if that, it may not even have been 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but I know it wasn't. I know it hasn't been a month ago. I know that, and I know it ain't been 3 weeks. So it's probably 2 weeks ago, I'm thinking. But yeah, got that taken care of, and I have another appointment at the VA today at 4 o'clock. So it's my women's annual exam appointment. So I just went ahead and took off for today because I worked to 12 today, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, instead of taking a whole day off, I'm gonna, you can see these cars are coming so fast, y'all. It's a major highway here, and they are rolling. So I, instead of just taking a whole day off, which sometimes it just depends on how I feel. I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna depending on if I what I have, all I have to do leading up to the appointment, I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna just take off the whole day. But in this case, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna work to 12, work to noon, and then I'm gonna take off the rest of the day because I get off at 5:30. So I was like, I use the rest of that for PTO. So yeah, I was thankful that I had that time, to even use that. That's a blessing to even have that. So that's what I did. which is it's like that here everywhere. It ain't just at that facility. It's everywhere. Like people are just so. I don't think I've ever been somewhere here since we've been in Colorado, and I know it's like that in any other state. But I'm just saying that that means a lot to me. That people are welcoming and they're greeting you and all of that. Because the lady at the front desk, she was just super nice, and I think they were on lunch break or something prior to me, because my appointment was at 1. But you gotta check in 15 minutes early. So I got there like I think 5 minutes before time, or 10 minutes or something like that. I got there before 12:45, and so yeah, she was real nice, just very pleasant. And then the lady who did my my what is it, X-rays of my mammogram, or whatever you call it, images, she was real nice too. She said she'd been doing that for, I think she said 20-something years. Because I asked her, I said, "This what you do all day?" She said, "Yep, this is what I do all day." And I told her she was really kind and patient. And I like the way which the last memo I had at the VA, that lady was real nice too. But yeah, she was just real patient, real nice older lady. So yeah, I got that over with, and so I have my other appointment at 4 today. So I'll have to, I'm gonna go back home. I gotta make a quick stop, but I'm gonna go back home before, time for that appointment, because I don't have to be, I think I have to check in there a few minutes early too, but it's 30 minutes from where we live, so I think it's 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm just gonna run back home, and then I'll leave again, and that'll be it for today. But that appointment, I think, is gonna last an hour, and so I'll be there till, won't leave there till after 5, so it's almost like I work today, per se, because this ain't really no time off. It's taking care of things I need to take care of. And I was telling a co-worker today, I said, excuse me, I was telling her, I said, I got to take care of myself, and I take care of everybody else. I'm making sure they good, and they got food, and things they need, and making sure my youngest daughter get her back to Chicago, here next month, beginning of next month. So I'm like, I got to squeeze in some time for myself and make sure I'm good, taking care of what I need to take care of. Because if we're not careful, it goes for women and men. We can lose. When I say lose ourselves, we can get lost in taking care of everybody else. And so, anyway, I was telling my coworker, she said, "Yeah, I agree." She said, "I agree totally with that." I said, "Yeah." I said, I'm just always making sure they're good, even though they're grown. But they're constantly on my mind. They're constantly. And I was telling the lady at church yesterday. I was telling her, I said, I sort of, I kind of missed them when they were younger. When them being younger, I said, because it seemed like I rushed them getting older, because the people around me, like family that was around me, their kids were older, and so me and my late husband, he didn't care either way, but I was always noticing it, because that's when I was on Facebook pretty strong, and I was like, gosh, is our children gonna ever grow up, or our children gonna ever grow up? And but they weren't supposed to. They were young. They were super young. And I enjoyed them. Going to their events at school and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just I was rushing, the process is what I'm saying. Thank you, Jesus. And the Lord just reminded me, we can't rush the process. We got it. His timing is perfect. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's a word. That's a word for me, and that's a word for somebody. We can't rush. We gotta. I can't go that way. We have to wait. We just gotta wait on it. because you know we want things to change, this, that, and the other. But as long as we're being obedient to Him and doing what He's telling us to do, we're on the right path and we're doing the right thing. I'll be back, y'all. Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I'm back. I'm headed. Let's make a quick stop. I'm headed home now. I'm back home because I have to regroup. And because you know, for the mammograms, you can't wear deodorant and all that stuff. So I'm gonna freshen up. I had already taken a shower, but I'm gonna freshen up and everything, and then I think I'm gonna put on something different than what I have on. And I just don't like that part about wearing deodorant. But it seems like the one I had, the mammogram I had back in 2023, it seemed like I forgot to, you know, I had deodorant on, so they gave me wipes, you know, to wipe off the deodorant. It seemed like I remember that, but I don't remember the lady. That lady, she didn't even. This lady she didn't even offer that, give me that option. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they just trust you, you know, not to wear that. But I remember that other lady said, and I don't know if it was that exam back in 2023, if I, you know, just informed her that I did, you know, I had forgotten to take the deodorant off, or forgot to, that I didn't need to put it on. I can't remember how it went, but I just remember she had wipes, because I looked around in the room, you know, where I had the mammogram today, and I didn't see any wipes. Maybe I overlooked them, but anyway, it's neither here nor there because I've already had it. But I know a lot of times, that's why I was telling her, because I said, do I need to take off my jewelry? Do I need to, you know, take off my necklace? She said, no, you don't have to do none of that. So, you know, because I know the main thing is about the deodorant, and they don't want you to have no perfume and stuff around your breast. So I know that that's the main part there. So anyway, again, I got that behind me, and I'm thankful for that. So she said they'll send the results in a few days. So that should be Wednesday or Thursday, I guess. Probably Thursday. But it may be sooner than that because they're pretty quick. They're real quick. So I'll just, you know, be on the lookout. Probably Wednesday. But yeah, I'm headed back home. I'm gonna regroup because again, my last appointment today is at 4, and I'm gonna make me a dentist appointment too. That will be probably after I take my daughter, get her situated back in college. That will be probably sometime in either late September or something like that, around in there somewhere. Because right now it's just a lot going on. We, you know, just trying to get her back, and she'll leave the first of next month, and you know, do what I need to do for her, and you know, get that time off for that. So it'll be maybe either end of next month or October, and I can get that scheduled. But y'all, I have spent so much money on my teeth, it's not even funny. Even my late husband, we were double covered because he had I had Blue Cross on my job and he had Blue Cross on his job. So like, you know, when anybody familiar with the double coverage, you ain't got to pay nothing. It's zero. And so because he had really good insurance on his job, really good insurance. And so anyway, I was always running back and forth to the doctor and dentist appointments, and me and the kids both, because you know, I was like, you know, I'm not gonna let this insurance go to waste. So, but he used it, but he didn't use it as much as we did. But it makes you feel good when you don't have hardly that much, you know, or anything to pay, and you just feel good about making an appointment. Like, you know, I ain't gonna have to pay nothing because I'm double covered. So I was able to get a lot of, you know, things scheduled, and that was like 20 talking about the dentist. That was like back in 2018, 2019. You know, I was able to get a lot of things done. But I want to say though, the last major things I had done in my teeth, to my teeth, was regarding my teeth, were like, I think that was like 2021. I mean, no, 2020, I believe. It was somewhere around there, because it was before he passed away. I remember that. But yeah, he had some really, really good insurance, and I mean, with me and him both. But no, I'm sorry. So initially, I had, you know, insurance on my job, and then I waived mine because when the new year started, he ended up getting it. It was even a better plan. It was even a better plan than previously. So I just, you know, I didn't have it on my job because his was so good. So yeah, initially I was double covered, and then it went to just his, you know, just that one insurance. But yeah, I think I had a wisdom teeth removed. I was having all kind of work done, because I was like, you know, I want to make sure I'm utilizing this insurance and utilizing it well. And like I said, the children, I was making them appointments. But yeah, I've spent so much money on my teeth, and it's just, you know, it's a lot of work that needs to be done on them. But it just seemed like, you know, it's so expensive, and I'm like, gosh. And unless you just got really, really super good insurance, you know, you're gonna be paying some money. You know, so I'm just asking the Lord to guide me in that area. You know, where I can make an appointment with one of these dentist offices, and, you know, He blessed me where I can get what I need to have done. And I know He's gonna do it, because He's done it before, and I know He's gonna do it again. But yeah, I'm almost back home, y'all. So I'm gonna get off of here, and I'll pick you guys back up when I'm leaving out again for my second appointment for today. And it feels good to be off, but to be honest, you know, sometimes I go back and forth with that, because I'm like, you know, I don't mind working, but because, you know, you get in the habit of doing the same things, you know, each day, and then when you're off, it's like, you know, because I've had an off day through the week, and I'm like, you know, a lot of times I won't even go anywhere. I just stay at home, because I'm like, you know, why? I don't have anywhere to go. You know, I got food, you know, got clothes to wear, so it's like, you know, I don't need to go anywhere. So and I'm trying to come up with some, you know, different things to do, you know, for myself, because once my youngest daughter leaves and she goes back, you know, things will go back to how they were. She sort of bring a little more activity to the household, not much, but the older two, you know, they're more so, they kind of stay to themselves. They stay to themselves, but she's more, you know, Mama, where we going? You know, this, that, and the other. And I don't, like, when I get off work, I just have to mainly just deal with myself. But when she's here, you know, I like to make sure she's good and stuff. So, yeah. But I was telling a lady yesterday, it was funny at church, I said, I miss them being younger. And she said, I don't, because she got grown kids too. She said, I don't. She said, I like mine being old. I said, well, I do. I said, but what I'm saying is that I don't miss the diapers and daycare and all of that. I said, no, what I'm saying is that I miss, you know, when they were younger. Because, you know, now that they're older, you know, I feel like I don't have control over anything anymore. Like I guess I never did. I guess I never did, but, you know, at least I thought I did. So she's like, why do you want control, you know? And I was like, yeah. But I think, y'all, what it is too is that it's the life change that has happened in my life. You know, a lot of people, I'm learning, you know, you'll just say something, you could either be joking about it or serious, but people, you know, a lot of times they can't relate to it because they haven't gone through it. So they, you know, they're like, what are you talking about? But until you have to actually go through something, I promise you, that's when your answers to a lot of stuff gonna change. And, you know, people make light, not everybody, But it's a lot of people make light of people that have they are going through things, or they have. And I used to be one of those people, but now I'm super compassionate because I know what it feel like. I know what it feel like for a change, a big change to happen. So y'all, I'll be back. I'm gonna get in here and get changed and everything, and I'll be back. Hope you all having a beautiful, blessed day in the mighty name of Jesus. Bye bye. Hello everyone. I'm back. I regrouped and put me some deodorant on. My lungs feel a whole lot better. And after that mammogram, so I took care of that, what I needed to. And they were going to put my smell good stuff back on, because they don't want you to have none of that on when you have your mammogram. Scented lotions or perfumes around your breasts, and usually that's why I spray, my upper part of my body and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm all fresh and clean, which I was fresh and clean before, but I just didn't have no deodorant. I couldn't wear any deodorant. So I'm headed to my second appointment today, and this is it, y'all. Once I get through with this one, I'll be done with these 2 appointments. But I thank the Lord that I was able to get both scheduled on the same day. I was sort of aiming, that was my goal, and I'm glad the Lord worked it out where I was able to do that, because it worked out perfectly. Because I forget which appointment, but the lady was like, because I had already made, I think I had already made the first, the mammogram appointment was already, I think, made, and then this appointment that I'm going to now, or maybe, no, so this appointment that I'm going to now was already scheduled. It was already set, but the mammogram appointment was the one where the lady, she immediately said, I know that was God, that was favor. She said, we have an August 4th appointment, and I was like, ooh, yes, that's what I needed. And so I was in my mind at that time, because I knew this appointment was at 4. So I said, I need something earlier in the day, so I can, I'm just gonna take off. I'm gonna work a little bit, but I didn't want them, spaced out too far from each other. And it worked. The Lord worked it out, because one was at 1 p.m. and the other was at 4. So it all worked itself out. It didn't work itself out. God worked it out. So I'm thankful for that. Yes, like I said, previously, it's little things like that I pay attention to, because, like I said, the lady who was scheduling me, she immediately said, I don't even think I asked for August the 4th. She said, I don't recall, but she said, we have that day available. And I said, what do you have? And she said, we have early in the day. And, I said, okay. Because, I was trying to see if I needed to be off, the whole day or some of the day or whatever. So, and it worked out. I was able to work 3 hours today. So, again, I try not to use a full day unless I just absolutely have to. But I sort of reserve that for like when I'm actually going to need to be off, something I need to be off, or I'm sick or something like that. But if I'm just doing doctor's appointments or something like that, I'm like, I don't need that whole day. But I was happy about that. I said, I'll take it. And so I'm familiar with that scheduling, because that's what I do all day, is schedule, patients. So when she said that, I was like, I'll take it. I'm there. So God is so good. Y'all, I got a taste for, I just want some I think I want collard. I don't want turnip. I want collard greens and some candy yams and cornbread. That's all I want. Those are the 3 things I really have a taste for. I know how to learn how to make my own collard greens. Not collard greens, candy yams. So I believe for the most part, I have everything I need to make those at home. I got 1 sweet potato. That's all I need, because I don't need much mini sweet potatoes. I don't need to make a big portion of candy yams because I'm really the only one eating it. But I don't have any. Usually I use Jiffy, so I don't have any Jiffy cornbread mix. So I would need to get that. We already got milk and collard greens. Collard greens. I have to stop and get. I'm gonna have to cheat and get a can of those. I just got a taste for that. I really do. And I can cook my plant-based meat with, to go with it. I just got a taste for that later. So that may be my dinner. 'Cause it won't take long to fix any of that. It won't take long at all. So I always put that cornbread in there. That don't take long. And then the other stuff is pretty fast. So I just got a taste for that. Y'all can tell I'm from the South. I just love that taste. The collard greens, because back when I was eating chicken and meatloaf and all that stuff, back in the day, my mom would fix she would always do, if she did candy yams, she would always do candy yams, cornbread, be baked chicken sometimes, be neck bone, be meatloaf, it would be fried chicken, what else, roast, she always be like that. But I don't eat that meat. I don't eat that type of meat anymore. So I just do, I substitute it for the plant-based meat, in which they got steak plant-based meat, and it's good to me, y'all. I could tell it's plant-based. I can tell that. I definitely can tell that. But once I put the seasoning on it and pepper and whatever, sometimes put lemon pepper on it, it tastes like the real thing to me. It's good. And I always, if they don't cook it, forget the brand that I always get, but it say don't cook it long, but I always overcook it to get it to kind of charred a little, because that way I can fool myself like I'm eating, some real steak or something. So and then sometimes I'll dice some onions in it to, sort of give it a little bit more flavor. But yeah, it's good. I'm trying to think of the brand that I always get. It's in a green bag, but it's good. It's very good. And I've been buying that for a while, but it's expensive. It's $9.99, and you don't get that much in a bag. But I'm like, y'all need to up y'all bag, the serving in the bag, because you could probably, maybe I know what it is. I'm using too much out of the bag, because I don't think you're supposed to use that much. But like I said, it's good, but I feel like they don't give you enough, meat in the bag. That's what I feel. That's my opinion. Because I'm like, where's the rest of the meat? But it's good. It's real good. And then sometimes I'll fix it and I'll make like a wrap. Like last night I had, what did I have with it? I grilled the meat in the skillet. Usually I have olive oil for the base, for the oil, or either I do butter, the butter that has is plant-based butter, or either I will what is it? But last night I didn't have any what is it? Olive oil, so I usually use the regular vegetable oil, which I try not to use too much of that. But and I can't really tell the difference in cooking with the olive oil or the, it tastes the same to me. But I do know the olive oil is, of course, healthier, and that's why I try to use it. But that's thank you, Lord. That's what I need to get. I need to stop at the Dollar Tree on the way home and get 3 bottles of it, because it's only $1 at the Dollar Tree, and in the grocery store it's a lot more expensive. It's like $11-12. So, and you don't even have to use that much. You just use a little, and it serves the purpose. Because I only use it for that meat, and I use it like if I'm making, like for the candy yams, I would use it. What else? And I'm trying to think, do I use oil for the yams? I can't remember. I know I use the butter. I think I do. I use the butter. No. So, well, I'm gonna caramelize it. So I don't think I use the oil. Y'all, I can't think right now. But anyway, I know That's mostly when I use it. What I use it for is when I'm doing meat and if I'm making any type of meat or something, I use that as the base. But yeah, it tastes. I don't see any difference, a big difference. Like I could, I'm cooking with olive oil. I can't tell I don't taste it. I don't. It's not a big difference for me. Yeah, I'm headed on to this appointment. I'm trying to get here so I can check in. I have to check in at 3:45. And trying to leave the house late enough so I could, wouldn't have to sit around and wait. But they sent me a message and they were like, "Are you here?" So I think I figured out why they do that. It's not, stalking you or anything, but it's like, I think they're saying they can see you then. Like, are you here? Because we can see you a little earlier. But I'm not. I'm like 10 minutes out, 15 minutes out. But this traffic is so thick around this time of the day. Oh, it's terrible. So what are you guys doing today? You're probably at work where I would normally be, but it do feel, it feels good to be out. But like I said, I've gotten so used to, doing my regular thing. When I'm off, it's good to be off. But, it's not like a hooray, I'm off, because like I was telling my coworkers, when you have things to do, it's not an off time. It's you're still busy, you're still doing something, so. Now, if I was just laying around at home, eating or snacking, then that's off. But if I'm going to running around, driving, and making appointments, it's not really being off. I mean, it's off, but it's not really off. It's just busy. But I'm thankful, like I said, that I have time, because some people don't have time that they can even do that. They have to take. What is it? They call it take time off, unpaid time off. So that's a blessing, that I'll still be able to get paid from being off today. Everybody, there was a time where, I didn't have that, because I would always use up all my time, That was back in the day, from either calling in, because I hated the job back in Tennessee, or it would be from, one of the children or somebody being sick or something. I had already used all my time. Yeah. So I didn't have any time. When it was time for an appointment or something, I just had to, sometimes I had to either take, time off unpaid, or either, I don't even think I really did that. I don't even think that was an option. I just would, wait till my time built back up. Yeah, I don't think whatever companies I was working for, they didn't even allow that, I don't think. Because I guess they didn't want it to be an issue, because some people like, well, I don't care about getting paid. I just want to be off. So then everybody will start doing it, because they don't care either. So they like, nope, we're not going to even allow you to do it. So, which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's a little slow go here. Should have probably left a little earlier than what I did, but I was trying to, like I said, get close as I could to the time of the appointment, because I don't like sitting around waiting, which wouldn't have been. They got a nice library area. I could have just got there early, but I was next time I know, because when it's this time of day, people are getting off work, and it's to be expected. Busy. It's just busy right now. Some people are going to work. So today at work, it was good. I had a good day today. So the patients are always so nice, and I get maybe one or two, during the day. Well, maybe more, it's more than one or two. So I'm gonna say about 5 a day. Maybe they'll say, "How are you doing today?" They really, they just don't know how much that that really means to me. Because, like I said, I was sharing that in well, I haven't uploaded the, well, no, that was in the video I uploaded on Saturday. I was telling about the gentleman was saying, the security guard in Ross, and, he was saying, I was asking him, how was his day? And, a lot of people, like I said, they go through the whole 8-hour shift, 10-hour shift, 12-hour shift, whatever they working. And nobody never asks them how they doing, or, a lot of times they're right in the, they're right in people's faces, and nobody say, how you feeling today? Are you doing okay? And a lot of times that really matters to people, or that could make somebody feel, appreciated or something. But it's almost like, okay, I'm just here to work. And that's why a lot of people, I think, that's the type of attitude they have toward their job, because they like, I'm just there to get my check, because they don't feel, no type of appreciation, from their job. But we got to learn how to be appreciated from Jesus. We got to learn how, I know a lot of people don't know Jesus, but we got to learn how to appreciate ourselves. When we appreciate ourselves, it's done. It's done. And don't worry about if somebody recognize you or not, or say anything about you. You know you're doing a good job, so that's all that matters. And that's how I am. I know I give my all each and every day. I give my all, I really do. And I remember back in the day, I had a nursing home job. I was a CNA, certified nursing assistant, and y'all, I would get out. I would be so tired when I would get off work, because I was a whole lot younger then, in my 20s. But I would get off work and I'd be just tired, because I've been bathing older patients all day. I've been feeding them. It was like, just caring for babies. I was putting on their clothes. Some of them I had to take the clothes off, put on the gown, because at the end of the shift, you put them back in the bed. So, it was just tiring. It's a very tiring job. But it was fulfilling, because even back then, the Lord had placed in my spirit to have a heart for people. And, I know he was using me back then. Yeah. This is what I'm preparing you with this job. And I really enjoyed that job. I did. It didn't pay much. I don't know what that position paid now, but I know back then it paid pennies. Literally, it paid nothing. And, it was a back-breaking job. It was a very back-breaking job, and we always had to wear a back brace, because you had to lift patients and stuff about the bed. Some of them were kind of overweight or whatever, or pretty heavy, so you would have to lift them up or whatever from a sitting position. And it was something else. It was something else. But I thank the Lord for that experience, because it made me better and stronger. And I would just, like I said, I believe that's where my love for older people came from too. I have a really high respect for them, in which everybody should, but I know where it comes from for me is because I have always been around them and worked with them. And so, it was just a blessing to work at that job. And I worked there from 1991 until, I'm trying to think, because I went to the military, so 1994, so I worked there from 91, I think, to 93, and then I left, but then I went back there. Where did I go? Let me think, y'all. Did I go back? I think I did go back. Yeah, I did. I went back because I was honorably medically discharged. So yeah, I ended up going back because I was super young back then. But anyway, I went back there. So I left and I went back. And then I left and then I went back there to work. And I remember when I went back, I was like, "Ooh, everything done changed. Everything had changed." And a lot of those patients, they were still there. They're still living. They were older women and men. But I remember the quality of the taking care of the patients. All that had went to zero. And I was like, "What happened?" And it was just almost like people were just there, just to just to get a check. You could tell, even back in the 90s. So, like I said, I thank the Lord for my experiences, things that I've had to go through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I thank Him for all of that because, He's made me better, He's made me stronger, and, He's made me a better person because of those different experiences I had to go through, and I thank Him for that. But like I said, even back then in the 90s, who would have thought I would be in Colorado here in 2025 and, have a desk job? Because, I've always been mostly a man, either a plant job or where I would be working, but I've always been serving the public. I've always, I've either worked in a restaurant setting, a cashier, I worked in retail, but I've always been of like service to the people. That's what I'm a description of all the jobs I've had. It's always been, and the only job that was not considered probably service to the people was when I worked at a plant, but that was like in I forget what year that was, but that was in the 90s too. It was like late 90s, I believe. But that's the only job that I can remember or recall that was not quote unquote service to the people, because that was a plant job and I wasn't around no people. The only people I was around was the people I worked with. The co-workers. Those were the only people I was around. And I wasn't servicing them. But yeah, that's the only job I can recall. But all the other ones, I've always been helping somebody, helping people. Well, I made it here, y'all, to the VA. I'm thinking how hard it's gonna be to find a parking space. Usually it's not hard. Usually it's pretty easy. Usually. This VA is much bigger than, of course, the one in Tennessee. Much bigger. And I just like this facility. I really do. I like the atmosphere. And I like, you can walk in there and they got different, what is it? I love that part. They got, what you call it? Where people be selling stuff. Can't think of the name, what they call that. But anyway, last time I was here, I purchased a shirt and a cup, which I didn't really get to use the cup much because it was I just didn't get a chance to use it much. But all of that I think was like $50. But I'm trying to think, what's the name of, y'all can't see me, I don't think. The name of the I'm trying to think, what do you call that? They have booths, but I can't think of the terminology. Because they set up here I can't think of the name of it, y'all. They set up here some of them, I've talked to a few people and they say, yeah, I set up here some of them come twice a week or whatever, but some of that stuff they have, it's nice, but some of it's overpriced. So I'm like, no, it's too much. Because it could be something, pretty basic, but they'll have like $30 on it. And I'm like, no, like a t-shirt. And they just doing that because they know, they know the veterans gonna be coming through. And some of the older people, they probably do want, I'm sure they get a lot of business, but like I said, I always try to think rationally, I look at the price or look at what it is, and if it's too outrageously priced, I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass. But y'all, let me get in here so I won't be late, and I'll talk to y'all after the appointment. Bye-bye. Psalm 23:1. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. Okay, I'm back, my YouTube family and friends. Just getting out of my last appointment, and oh my gosh, it was super duper long. The appointments were quick, but it was I had a prescription that I had to wait on, so I had to. It's the procedure that they have, which I totally get it, because when it's a lot of people, it makes perfect sense to have that, in place. But I had to. So can I get over? I had to. Thank you, Lord. I had to wait because you have to pull a number, and then you have to. This interstate slow go. Should have stayed in the other lane, but I'll go ahead and get on it. So yeah, you have to pull a number, then you gotta go sit back down, then you gotta get up again. I know it's their process. Like I said, it's a really good flow. It works really well when it's a lot of people, but when it's not, to me it's it's just like, okay, just let us get what we need so we can go. Because it was like when I left, it was still about maybe 8 or 10 people still waiting. And one man, I watched him walk out, and he came back in, and he still, his number still wasn't called. So, like I said, I totally get it. The VA has really been good to me. I have no complaints, but I was just bragging. I said, "Oh, there's nobody here," and everything was super quick. But like I said, it's just it's their process. You have to. Everybody had got a a process. So that's what they do, and we just gotta abide by it. But I was the appointment went really well. I was able to talk to my doctor and everything. So it went really well. And like I said, she's always so thorough and everything. This is a good doctor. I can't remember. I think I don't know if I chose her or she was given to me, or they recommended her to me. I can't remember, but she's a really good doctor. I like her. Like I said, she's very thorough. She's not just trying to get you in there and get you out. She's asking you questions, and is this okay? Are you good? Are you bad or whatever? I like that. So, and they, of course, they did my weight, and my height, and they do all that. But yeah, it was a nice appointment. There was this one thing I noticed, and I'm not, you just don't know, but the reason I want to share this is because this is just a lesson, or it's a reminder for myself. When we are interacting with people, or we're in a customer service type of environment, we have to be mindful. Be mindful because, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm strong, I can handle whatever. I've handled so much, but I'm a people person, and so I notice when I have the same compassion that I have for other people, you can sort of kind of want to have it, want people to have it for you. But I was asking this gentleman, and I was asking him, he worked there, and so I was asking him, I said, where do I go? Because I don't go there all the time. So, it's easy to get turned around. It's easy to not know everything. Because some people, they go all the time. So they know their place inside and out. They know where to go. They know everything. The building, which elevator, I gotta have some direction. Because I don't go all the time. I go when I have my appointments. And sometimes those are stretched out. Like the last time I was there was when I had my sciatic. When I had that incident where I could barely walk. And this is August. That was back in, I think, June maybe. I don't believe it was last month. So it was June, I think, when I had that episode. So see, it's been a little time there. And I'm not making an excuse, but I'm telling the truth, And so it's just like, give people grace, But he was so quick with me, and he was real nice when I first started talking to him. But then it was like, like I was bothering him. You know, he worked there, but it's like I was bothering him. You know, like, okay, what, you know, like I'm almost as though, you know, lady, you know, it was almost like treating me like I was just dumb, you know. But I'm like, can you help me? You know, but it's okay. God always put, you know, people around me that are super nice, and the other 3 people that I had to interact with, they made up for him. But, and you know, I'm gonna add them to my prayer list, because you know, you just never know what people are dealing with. They had a rough day or whatever, but God has been reminding me, no matter what type of day you're having, or you've had, or will have, or whatever, that does not give you a right to be quick with nobody, and to be, you know, just sharp with nobody. Because I was just asking him about, you know, what I needed to do, because I want to make sure I was doing it right. Because one, I've never been there this late in the day, so I was like, okay, you know, I've forgotten what to do. So I was like, okay, can you give me some little guidance here? And he was just so quick. And then the Lord able me to witness. I had to sit down and wait. You know, I had to sit down and wait on him, you know, on them to call my number on my ticket. And so he was rushing me so he could talk to his coworker. I guess it was his coworker. They were talking about dogs. So, you know, I'm like, okay, so you couldn't help me, but he was just talking and laughing and kikiing it up with that gentleman. And I'm like, wow, you know, it was just so quick with me. But I don't know if it was part of it was, okay, you know, you should know where you're going, or you should know how to get, you know, but you can't take for granted that everybody knows stuff, you know. Yeah, I'm young, and I'm sure I look young, but because he was an older man. But at the same time, you know, still be willing to help somebody. You know, we all need help. We all need somebody to direct us sometime. You know, you work there, that gives me pleasure. If I work somewhere and I've been working there for a while, yeah, do this, do that. I love that. You know, that means I know something. You know, but that wasn't for him. Yeah, he was like I said, he was just so quick. And I was like, oh, is he getting ready to get off, or it's time for him to clock out? No, he wanted to talk to that man. The Lord had me sit there and listen. They were talking about dogs. That's what they was talking about. And which you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I was like, wow, you were so quick with me, but didn't have time. I mean, talking to that man, but didn't have time to talk to me, help me. But it's okay. Like I said, I just pray for people, and just pray that God will touch their heart so they can be better. That all of us can be better, not just him, all of us, me too. You know, I just my heart goes out to people, because like I said, you know, a lot of times people are going through stuff, and you just don't know what they're going through. Just going through stuff. I'm not making an excuse for him, but you know, I'm just saying, you know, maybe he's just ready to get off work. And then I noticed like 20 because I was sitting in the same area, so I noticed about 30 minutes later he was, you know, closing the doors, because it's time to go. And because I don't think they close at 6, but he was, you know, letting it be known, okay, it's time. And then next thing I know, he was gone. That was the end of his shift. But, and like I said, that's fine. All of that is fine and dandy. But my whole point of sharing that, you all, if you in any type of customer service position, or you're in any type of, you know, where you got to be around people, offer service to people, you know, be mindful of that. God convicts me of that all the time. No matter how I'm feeling, you know, don't be snappy with nobody. People can pick up on that. Don't be quick with nobody and sharp, or, you know, like acting like, you know, okay, what you want? You know, you work there. You getting paid to do that job. You know, why you can't help me? You know, that's what we're here to do. You know, and if you not getting paid, that's a whole different scenario there. You're just working there for free. But no, you're getting paid. You collect a paycheck. paid. But yeah, I just never happened to notice that. I was like, wow, wow. Yeah, he was just talking. He was just talking to that man, y'all. He was just, just keying it up with that man. They talking about dogs. I think he was telling him about. I have to laugh about it because he was telling him about his dog, and that man was telling him about his dog. So they were swapping dog stories. Then I think it went into something else, but that was the gist of the conversation, dogs, which is fine. I have a dog. But like I said, nothing should be more important than your job, Nothing should be more important than, doing what you're supposed to do, you're getting paid to do. And like I said, I'm just going to be honest. A lot of times people feel like they've been on a job for so long and they can do what they want to do. I've been around people like that. When I worked in a nursing home, there was an older lady. She felt like her work had started getting sloppy because she felt like, hey, I've been on this job, that, however long she had been there. She's been there a while. And, people, I'm sure y'all know people like that. They feel like they just got it going on like that. But see, you can be somewhere for 30, 40, 50 years. Still don't give you justify you doing whatever you want to do. That ain't your company. You don't own that company. You ain't the CEO of that company. You still don't get to do what you want to do if you're the CEO. There are rules and regulations that you got to abide by. That's just how it is. But like I said, a lot of people, that's a lot of people's slack attitude. They feel like, I've been here for so long and I can just do what I want to do. I call the shots, But that is a sure way to be out the door. That's a sure way for you to be out of a job, And then they, crying and asking the Lord, help me. But, when you had that, when you were in that position, what did you do with it? You took it for granted, So, yeah, I just wanted to share that because I know, I was paying attention to that, because I deal with people every day for 8 hours, and I'm on the phone with them, and no matter how I feel, I try to do my best to be nice, to be kind, compassionate. A lot of them want to talk. I'm here to listen. I go above and beyond, and I've been, it's been noticed by my, my people on my job, and that's just my heart. I love all people. Nobody I don't love, but yeah, that's sort of, and I wasn't mad, but I was like, wow, because at first he was super nice, but then it was like when I started asking him questions, details, what do I do for this? What, it's like he was getting agitated, like, okay, get out of my face. It was almost like that. And he looked like he was probably maybe 60-ish, maybe late 60s, mid to late 60s, something like that. I don't know. But I know he's older than me. But like I said, people, a lot of people, they hate their jobs. That ain't no excuse either, but they hate their jobs. They don't like what they do. They just, they really want to be doing something else, whatever. And they don't like how they got to still work. It's just all, we can just go on and on and on. But like I said, it still does not give them a right. It don't give me a right. It don't give you a right to mistreat nobody and to be quick with nobody. Be mindful of that, y'all. I'm so serious because, you could make a difference in somebody. The way you talk to somebody, that could have a big bearing, a weight on, how they, on their mindset. Especially if they already down and out, and then you acting like that, it could cause for them to just lash out, or maybe they tolerated it from you, but then the next person they just acting up on, So we just have to be mindful. We have to be mindful, and you will be held. You the one that can be blamed for that because how you acted with that person initially. That person go home and act up on their spouse or their children. Because of that, it's almost like a domino effect. But like I said, I'm gonna add him to my prayer list. Because it's just, like I said, people. I'm noticing that And then it's almost like people who are like that, they, don't nobody want to deal with that. Like they let it slide, that, they don't say bother them or whatever because they know, or they don't do it all the time. So, it's not even noticed or whatever. But God see it. So we're not getting away with it. God see everything. So we gotta, like I said, we have to be mindful, y'all. We really do, because more than you know, somebody watching you. Most of all, God is watching you. He sits high and he looks low. Secondly, you got people, around you that's paying attention to you, and they see how you act and treat people and everything. But yeah, I was just noticing that stood out for me real big. I was like, wow, you didn't want to really talk to me, and here I am, a patient, and you work here, but you just, and then I was then my mind went to like, okay, you want me to get out of your face and not ask you much so you can have time to talk to him. So I was like, wow, but, and I think that other person, that man, the man who's talking to, he came up after the fact, but I had to go back over there and ask him another question because I was confused. I was like, okay, because I'm like, what is all these steps I got to do? What's going on here? Because, normally I just do my ticket and wait on my number to be called, bam, I'm out. But today it was different because I was sort of like labeled as a walk-in because I had to do lab. I had to do, lab, and then I did an x-ray, and then I had to pick up a prescription. So it was three things I had to do there. So normally I wouldn't have to have all those together like that. So that's what it was too, which is okay. That was okay. But y'all, we just gotta. I heard somebody say the other day, we just gotta be in prayer for one another, because it's people that's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. We just gotta give grace. Just like God gives us grace, we gotta give others grace. I wasn't mad or nothing at him, and I'm not. But I just I was noticing how he was acting. It's very noticeable. But it's okay. I'm strong. I'm very strong. So I don't have worse done to me, so by my own family. So I'm okay. I'm good. God got me. But then just a few minutes later, when I had my x-ray, that young man was just super nice, talkative, y'all. Asking me what I needed. Are you okay? You need, just asking me if I need any more assistance. After he got done with the x-ray, just very friendly. Then a lady after that, when I was picking up my prescription, I was just laughing and talking like we knew each other. So that's how I know. That's how further lets me know. It's just how some people are, And like I said, what I got out of that, he did not. Some people don't like you asking them questions because they like, it's self-explanatory. But everybody learns different. Everybody, and when it's different steps like that, how my brain works may not be how your brain works. I know what to do now, because I've had to do it, and I still may forget, but I need somebody who worked there to help me. That's just, come on, that's just part of it, and you should be, people ask me stuff all day long I've scheduled them, and they'll say, well, what's the address? I said, okay, I'll give you the address. I'll give them the address to the place they're going to for the appointment. And then sometimes they ask other stuff about how much it's going to be. I said, well, I can't help you, but, excuse me, I'm going to get you over to somebody who can. That's just part of the job. It's going above and beyond to help somebody. We all, like I said, we all need help. But that's like, somebody asking me, well, where's the appointment at? Well, I'm not for sure. haven't you been there before? You know, that's what I'm talking about. How a lot of people take for granted, and then there's people that's been somewhere before, but they may have been there 50 times, but maybe they just still want to have the address every time. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, I just want to share that because we got to get out of our own way and quit, just going through life acting the way we do. And like I said, I feel in my spirit he was ready to go home. 1, 2, he was agitated because I was asking questions. Maybe I was like, I was just ignorant. I didn't know anything, but it wasn't that. I'm very smart, but like I said, I don't go there all the time, so I don't. I'm not real familiar with the process because I don't go there enough. There's people that go to the VA all the time, so they know everything. But then I heard an older gentleman. He was in a wheelchair. He was asking. I don't know if that was his first time, but he was asking another man that was waiting. All of us were waiting, but he was asking that other man. He said, "So what do I?" He was asking him what to do, and so he didn't know. He was in his 60s too. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. Everybody, there's nothing wrong with needing help, and asking for it and receiving it. But like I said, my heart goes out to him. I'm just praying for him because, sometimes you can get somebody that, like I said, they're not having such a good day, and they'll report you, or they will, which I wouldn't never do that, but they'll report you, or they will, lash back out at you. Then you got a big old mess on your hand because you were being ugly. So it's okay. But I just wanted that was my little talk about that, y'all. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't care how you feeling. The stomach could be hurting, the head hurting. Just be kind to people. It's zero. Cost $0. There's no charge to do that. So I'm headed home, y'all. I'm gonna stop and get me something to eat. I don't feel like fixing nothing. I used up this whole rest of this day. I didn't expect to be there as long as I was, but I had 3 things she wanted me to do. So I'm glad I was able to take care of, because that X-ray could have been I would have had to get off work again. So that was a blessing. I got that taken care of. So I took care of 2 appointments today, and then actually 3. I had my mammogram earlier, so I did good today. But I'm gonna head home and get a little rest, enjoy the rest of this night. I gotta go to work tomorrow, and tomorrow is a full day. I'm getting off early tomorrow. I gotta work all the way through. So I pray you all are having a beautiful, blessed day in the mighty name of Jesus. Always remember that I love you, but Jesus loves you so much more. The best is still yet to come for you and for me. And God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. And I just pray blessings over all of your all's life. Pray God's covering over you and your family. And I just pray that we all just draw closer to Jesus and allow him to lead us and show us the way. He knows what's best, even though we think we know, or we believe we know, but we don't know nothing. He knows everything. Our Father knows what's best for us. And I just pray that we all, just let him lead us. That's what I pray. I'm just thankful for, I'm passing a subdivision, y'all, that we had looked at. We went to look at a house. It's a really nice subdivision over here. And I was just randomly going to, viewing houses a while back. And that was in 2023, I believe. And it just seemed like I never followed through with any of it because, I was like, well, and so I didn't feel led to go, to follow through. But I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with looking at these nice houses. There's some really nice houses in the subdivision we're passing. But I just remember prior to that, and then even after, we kept getting no. And the God allowed us to move into this nice place that we're in. So, when I tell you, all you need is one yes from Jesus. That's all you need. And man can tell you no 100 times, 1,000 times. You just need one yes from Jesus, and you're good. You're good. You're excellent. Because He going to open doors that can't nobody open. And He ain't going to allow you to go through no door that need to be closed. So, I always remember that. When, we don't have to beg. We don't have to plead with nobody. We don't have to borrow nothing we don't have to do none of that. All we have to do is trust in Him and believe that He gonna make a way for us, and He'll do it. But we gotta believe in order to receive, and that's a word for somebody. Don't be begging nobody to help you. Don't be saying, back in the South, it's always I need a co-signer to help me get this car. I need a co-signer to help me get this house. No, you don't need a co-signer. All you need is Jesus. Jesus is your co-signer. That's who you need, Jesus. So, just let Him lead the way. Let Him do what only He can do for you, and things will work out. But a lot of times the things that we want, what we want is not what God wants for us. And we like nice stuff, and I want this, I want that, but the Lord is like, nope, that's not what I have for you. And a lot of times, what He got for us is way better than what we even want for ourselves. So that's what we got to be mindful of. Quit trying to go ahead of Him. Just go with His flow. Go with His system, and watch how He'll bless you. So, again, have a beautiful, blessed Monday night, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Thank you all for listening.